Okay. All right. It's about 8:36, 8:35 p.m. Central Standard Time. Welcome to week number 5. Week 5 of drugs and crime. One more to go, and we're done. So this quarter is going by pretty fast, as I said before. I will be having your week 3 and 4 graded by the end of this week. And right now you're working on week 5. So I'm working on week 3 and 4. So should have those for you very soon. If anyone's concerned, let me know and I'd give them to you right away. But it's going to be okay. All right. So now let's go to the screen. Been a pretty busy day for me, taking care of things with the family. As that adversity springboard to success. As you can see, 4 recordings, and then we have one next week. That's it, week 6. Okay, so let's look at the course calendar. You can see where we are. You can see how close we are to the end. The next and last lecture is the 17th, and that is 2 days before the end of the quarter. Your reading assignments for this week, chapter 9, and then we're going to cover some of these issues here. Your initial post was due last night, incarceration or treatment. And then live lecture today, reply post, incarceration or treatment. And then due Sunday, this is the last Sunday due date, the written assignment, recidivism and public health. We've been talking about that quite a bit. And then your timed quiz. And then you can see that the 19th is the end of the quarter, that your written assignment is due on that 19th. We'll talk about that. Then, of course, your final exam along with your key phrase. So you see, we're at the end. Do not turn in an assignment after the 19th because it will not be graded. I've already said that many, many times. And sometimes people say, why do you keep repeating that? Trust me, if you're sitting in where I'm sitting, you would understand why I do that. So let's go to the course home quickly. And I did not put the rubric on here because we're going to go over the rubric again in a minute. But here is your week 5 announcement. Drug-related criminal activity, the public health perspective, which actually we've been kind of talking about that the whole time in this course, about how it's a public health issue. So chapter 9 of drugs, crime, and justice, I sent you the PowerPoints for that earlier. And then there's a video, Chasing the Dragon, an indicator of use activity that we're going to take a look at in just a few minutes, some of it. We're not going to do the whole thing. And then discussion, incarceration or treatment, initial post due yesterday, reply post due Saturday, then your written assignment, recidivism and public health, and the quiz. And then you know my motto. So let's take a look at module 5. Get ready for it. Again, I hope you've been using that course guide. Here's a discussion. So you're going to use this information, okay? And then you're going to, again, post your initial post and then your reply post. All right, so your initial post is going to deal with identify and discuss alternative that you believe is better or more effective option to incarcerating. We've been kind of talking about that anyway. And then your reply post, respond to a student's different one. Your assignment, using, of course, the same scenario we've been using since week 1, involving Dave's life circumstances. So you're going to describe the drug enforcement policies on recidivism, which we've been talking a whole lot about this quarter. Discuss the probability of Dave reoffending and why he could reoffend. Explain the long-term impact of drug enforcement policies to public health. Again, a topic we've been talking about the whole time this course has been going on. And discuss how current drug enforcement policies impacting on recidivism rates. Provide an example of an effective approach to reduce recidivism rates, and provide an explanation of how this approach would be effective for Dave. Okay, we'll talk a little bit about that. Make sure that you provide, it says, one credible source. Well, I repeat what I said before, the more the better. Because remember what I said, that APA credible sources support the statements in your paper. And you're going to do a 2-page paper at a minimum. So I don't think it's a good idea just to have one. Okay? Very important that you hear me on that point. Let's look at the rubric. The reason why it says that is I didn't write that. The program, the people who put this course together, and I've already shared with them, but they don't like to make changes after a course starts. So anyway, as you already know, I don't want you to pay attention to emerging, competence, proficiency. I want you to look at mastery. And you're going to deal with drug enforcement policies, and you're going to give a good description of the enforcement policies on recidivism through supporting details. Remember what I said, supporting details sounds to me like credible sources. Then the impact to the public health. Okay, information literacy, that is using valuable resources or sources. Exemplary explanation of the long-term impact of drug enforcement policies to public health through credible sources. Then recidivism rates. Again, you're going to discuss how the current policies impact recidivism rates and explain how this approach provide an example of an effective approach to reduce recidivism to Dave. Then you're going to provide credible sources, as I said, and then 2 to 3 pages. You can lose 4 points by not doing that. Okay. Anybody have any questions about this? Type chat in the chat box. Okay. Anything? Trendy said no. Faith? Nope. Okay. All right. So you guys do pretty good anyway, but make sure you follow. Please give me the citations in the body. Please give me the references at the end. Please give me a cover page. Please remember, when we say APA, we've been talking about since day one. And run your papers through Grammarly. Very important that you run your papers through Grammarly. Okay. And then The last thing you got is your quiz. Okay, it's a time quiz. You already know how that works. And you know that you don't have any notes, stickies, or anything like that out, or PowerPoints. And then your live classroom, which I'm going to give you in just a few minutes. So let's quickly get into lesson content because I want to spend as much time as I can with the video. So drug addiction from the public health perspective, and then show you indicators of use and activity. All right, so let's talk about this. And actually, this talks about the fact that people find themselves heading on a spiral, as I've said before, heading down the road of drug addiction, starting out with simple visits to the doctor. These are everyday people who find themselves being prescribed painkillers to deal with something that is ailing them or post-surgery. And people begin to take those painkillers like candy sometimes, because anytime they feel a little pain, and they increase the use of them and find that they don't satisfy. So then they move higher up to illegal activity like using heroin. That's how our public health problem has occurred. And so it is important for you to understand that it can be innocent. It could happen to anybody. Some people have a perspective of a so-called starting out junkie. No, the question is, how did they get there? And I'm going to share a little bit in a few minutes in this video about that. But it says, giving priority to the health-related issues of addiction rather than arresting people for drug-related crimes, and treating people. And you guys are familiar with that that act that I gave you from Illinois. This particular piece of legislation, 3023, which I gave to you a few weeks ago. And this refers to a law enforcement approach. And by the way, do you still have that? You guys have it? You should have it available to you. And you should be able to use it this week. When you say it doesn't catch everything, I don't understand what you mean. You can't see it good? Because you need to download it on your computer. It's a PDF. And then you'll be able to see it completely. So very important, because it provides an alternative method called deflection, where rather than locking somebody up who comes in contact with law enforcement or police, then instead they're given treatment. We also talked about last week about Narcan and about how Narcan is used to arrest opioid addiction and potential deaths from using heroin and other opioids by the first responders carrying Narcan. So the fact of the matter is that it says, regardless of how we label the serious issue of heroin and opioid addiction, law enforcement agencies play an increasing role in connecting people to drug treatment and recovery services, such as that Illinois Senate Bill 3023. You can even do some research on it and look at it. It is law in Illinois. And there should be something similar in many states as an approach to try to deal with it, such as the example given in our material here from 2015, where the chief of police of Gloucester, Massachusetts, came up with the Angel program, which did the same thing as 3023, which came out about 2000 and I believe 18. I believe it was 2018. And the idea is not to lock up people, but to recognize the fact that it is a public health issue, and that for law enforcement to take that perspective so that you don't operate as locking somebody up or trying to help a person continue to get a record, because as we already know, that unless you cure the problem of drug addiction, then that person or those persons are going to continue to be recidivists or repeat offenders. And so we have to treat it the same way as we treat COVID-19, as we treat the flu, as we treat any other illness, and that we need to get the individuals to get treatment and help, rather than every time we look up, we're locking them up, and or they're committing crimes which sometimes result in them being killed or killing somebody. I'll give you an example of what I'm talking about. A few years, a long time ago, I was representing a young man, and he had been in prison and was released from prison, but his issue was burglaries. And the reason why he committed crimes of burglary was because of the fact that he would get the items, either pawn them or sell them to support his serious drug habit. So finally, I had him in a case where he was charged with burglary, and I encouraged his family, as going against what I generally do, is to help him by keeping him in custody. That was pretty tough, but I explained to them that if he got out, you're going to have to keep a close eye on him, because he's gonna go back to committing some residential burglaries to support his habit. So guess what happened? They went against what I said. They got him out. And then one day, he was able to get out of the house. There were people watching him, family members, but he got out of the house. And he went across town. He crossed over the highway, the expressway, to the other side of town to commit a residential burglary. A chase with the police ensued on the way to him while he was committing the residential burglary. And he ran from the police. He hopped over a fence, ran down the hill, attempted to cross the highway, and was hit by not one, not two, but 3 vehicles. A couple of them were 18 wheelers, and he was killed instantly. Not because he was a residential burglar, but because he had a drug treatment that hadn't been addressed. And that is one example. I have many more, but I just always share that with my students because it is fresh in my mind. I knew the family extremely well, and so it was pretty devastating and pretty bad, and they felt really bad having to bury that young man who is so long ago. His daughter, who was little, along with one of my daughters, who is now 40-something, 44 years old. She's now 44. She was little then. That's how long ago that was. She's about 4 years old, so that was 40 years ago. But my point being is that nothing has changed. And so therefore, these programs, like the Angel program, like Senate Bill 3023 called the Community Law Enforcement Partnership for Deflection and Substance Use Disorder Treatment Act, which gives the police and community a tool to battle the opioid crisis. It says it authorizes and encourages local law enforcement leaders to create collaborative local programs that deflect individuals. When it says deflect them, it means rather than lock them up, who have overdosed or have substance use problems away from criminal justice and into addiction treatment services. That's how we help. And that's what it's all about. Okay. So now I am going to take a few minutes. You can take a look at this, but I'm going to put this video on. You can go later and do the indicators of use activities by going over these questions and answers yourself. But right about now, I'm going to put this video on. Now it has closed caption on. Okay, hold on a second. Oh, I forgot. We can't use it that way. We have to go back to, let me go back. Sorry about that. Let's go back to this one. Yeah, this link. Here we go. And so I'm going to start this. This is a 47-minute video, so it's going to go a little longer, but I want you to pay close attention.
I didn't care. I didn't think about it. I just did it.
I'm giving you the caption, closed caption.
Once I started getting high, it was done. She was 17 years old, and the only way I
So
knew
pay close attention.
she was arrested. So I was really young, 18, and I was always on for reception times. I checked the hospital accident. I was running down the line to get some water, the steps, laying on the floor. I started feeling bad, just because The new friends had a really, really big impact. When she got to that point, that she chose was such a girl. Life, and they don't care about you. I was supposed to go to court in November 2011, and the judge was supposed to let me go. He gave me the medicine, which ended up being 23 months, 2 years instead of the 10 months. And at the time, I was so retrospective, and I felt like I said, and I felt 100% certain I'll get better. And I did that. Say no. Just say no. And you're not uncool for saying no. You're more cool for saying no, I think. I wish I could have said no. If I could go back and do it all over, I would definitely go back and say no. I didn't feel like I was physically hooked, but that's because I never gave it a chance to stop. You know, I didn't really learn how to enjoy life without drugs. As much as I wanted to quit, I was too scared to ask for help. I don't want to freak my parents out by telling them I'm hooked on some hardcore drug. It didn't kill me like everyone told me. It's not worth it. And it will get you. You're no different than anybody else. It will destroy your life. You will end up in a jail, you'll end up dead, or you'll be in some crazy institution for the rest of your life. And that's serious and that's for real. And it took me coming to jail, being incarcerated. And it took me missing my mom's funeral, missing my children grow up. It's taken all of this because nobody in their right mind would turn their back on their dying mom for a drug. I want to be that loving and caring mom that my mom was to me, to my girls. I don't want them to hate me, to resent me. I don't want them to be embarrassed by me anymore. If you want to fail the rest of your life, if you want to be in and out of jail, if you want to possibly lose everything that matters to you, go ahead, go get high. Go ahead. If you want to be happy, you want to freaking get married, like every good part of my life, I wasn't getting high. You know, every good part of my life, I was getting high. And any drug addict will tell you that. If you want to be a flunky, go ahead and get high. Go ahead and do it. But, I've been there, done that, and I wouldn't recommend it. Sierra did not take life for granted until she started using. It is much stronger than you, and it will win. It will win. Because this doesn't just affect you. It affects everybody in your family for the rest of their lives. That we're the ones stuck here, missing you. And there's help out there. You gotta take it. Don't think you can do it alone, because you can't. And your parents aren't the enemy. They just want the best for you.
It's something I want to deal with for the rest of my life. You know, to be honest, I actually just had relapse about a month ago, and used for about a month, and I have a week. I had a week clean on Wednesday, and you know that's something that just shows how powerful this disease is. For me to lose somebody a year ago, not even a year ago, my arm already used me. How powerful stuff is. I just gonna try my best to stick with it, because I know it will kill me. And just something I gotta work at every day. It'll take you to hell and back, and if you're lucky, you'll make it back. This is not worth it at all. If I could go back, if I knew what I knew now about this, and if I could go back, I would do it all different. Starting with that first pill, I wouldn't touch it.
Whew. Every time I watch this, it just blows me away. Every time I see this, it brings tears to my eyes. And you guys, as professionals, will deal with this issue on the streets at some point. I have a daughter who's a clinical psychologist with criminals in Cook County. She tells me some of the things she has to deal with. I have a former student who was a high school student of mine in special ed, but she rose through the ranks hearing my words over the years from 2001 till she became a graduate at another school with a bachelor's degree in criminal justice, and now she just sent me a message saying to me that she's going to be doing some clinical work at Fort Leavenworth in Kansas. The key thing, guys, is just what I said earlier, is that this thing is so devastating to people, so mind-boggling, so life-changing in a negative fashion, that we have to understand as criminal justice professionals that we owe the people the opportunity to get a new life. And it's not very easy. It's not very easy, but we do the best we can. So I wanted to let that video run. I know the quality of sound sometimes is not so good, but that's why the closed caption is there. And it's absolutely unbelievable, incredible, but that's reality of what you'll face on the streets. So I went a little longer. That's all I have for tonight. Any suggestions for the key phrase? Type in the chat box. Any suggestions? Okay. Well, I'll give you the answer. Chasing the dragon. That's it. Give me that, and you get your points. Okay, so remember, I'll see you next week for the final lecture. week 6. Stay safe. Be careful out there. I closed yesterday talking to students about the dangers out here, COVID-19, and a student revealed to me that he and his whole household have COVID-19, and he's young. This is no joke out here, people. Be very careful, be safe. Well, I don't know. What I'm going to be teaching, let's see. I don't have in front of me what I'll be teaching next quarter, but you can ask your advisor and so forth what I will be teaching. I've forgotten what it is. I think that I think introduction to corrections. I think also I'll be teaching, I don't remember what else, but I will be teaching several courses. So hopefully we'll see you down the road and, you know, have you guys in. It's been a pleasure having you guys in. I hope, like I said again, I'll see you next week and stay safe. Good night. Okay, Faith. All righty. Bye-bye.